and welcome everyone. We would like to thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Effervesce, and along with Russ Childs, Director of PlanMember Insurance, and Business Development Specialists Joshua Bellows, Jeff Lovegren, and Janine Northway, we are proud to be delivering the insurance webinar, PlanMember's e-signature expands to include equitable products. Before we begin, I would like to review some logistics. If you have not already logged into the web portion, please do this now. All you'll need to do is click on the link that we provided in the email that was sent this morning, choose Enter as a Guest, and type your first and last name prior to joining the meeting room to make sure we capture your attendance properly and send you any follow-ups related to today's call. If you're joining us live today, you will be receiving $25 in PlanMember bucks. If you can't log into the web portion or are attending in a meeting room with more than one person, please email Kendra Silverman your information at ksilverman@planmember.com. For those of you who would like to review the presentation on demand, our call is being recorded for broker-dealer use only, and the information we're going to cover is current as of today, Thursday, June 18th, 2020. You can find the recording in the insurance section of partners. On a side note, if you're joining us via cell phone today, you may unfortunately experience some sound quality issues as many of the cell phone networks are saturated during these peak usage times. If you do experience any sound issues, please hang up and dial back in. This should improve your sound quality. We apologize in advance for any inconvenience this may cause, and thank you for bearing with us. Due to the size of our webinar, we've muted all of your lines to minimize background noise, and we will be taking questions throughout the session via the Q&A function. Now I'd like to welcome Russ, who will be introducing the BDS team. Welcome, Russ.
Thanks, Megan. So, although I guess that you did mention, so you stole my surprise, but so we do have on the call today your BDS team, and your BDS team really is essentially the group that has put this presentation together. And I want to thank them because it does take a little work, and we've had a number of, as we call them, dry runs to put this all together and make sure that we have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed. So, thank you very much, Jeff, Janine, and Josh for your efforts on this. But also, I want to show you their names just because if you don't really like the webinar, their names are right there, and you can blame them. Don't blame me because they're the ones that put it together. I'm just kidding, of course. I was part of the process, so I guess you can place my name in that list also. But I'm very excited. It seems like it was only yesterday, but unfortunately it wasn't yesterday that just started the development of the ability to give you the ability to e-sign on equitable products and their apps and their forms and that sort of thing. So it's been kind of a process to get us to this point. And so really, I want to give you a little bit of the background of what we're talking about here. And so with the equitable products, one of the things that we're experiencing is the aspect of what e-signature process that we could actually use with their products to actually provide a virtual signature. And they have their own version of what that was, and so first we had to get the capability of using, as a lot of you already know, the OneSpan, and OneSpan is the company that we use and the process that we use to electronically sign applications and forms. Because although if you look at the equitable products, they are platform products, and we wanted to make sure that we had all the platform products that had the ability to have them e-signed, particularly in the world we're in, but even before that, to somehow align themselves until we get to the point where we actually have a process in place with Business Connect so that you can e-sign our insurance products that are on the platform. But it really wasn't going to work out, and we've been working on it for a little bit, and so we still have some steps to go before we actually get that type of product taken care of. So the easiest way that we found that we're going to be able to do this using our OneSpan process was first we had to get Equitable to sign off on this. And so that took a little bit. We went back and forth and finally got them to say yes. And then the second side of it is, how are we going to actually make it easier on you to get the forms that you're going to need with that? And so we figured out that we could use Laser App Anywhere. And so what the BDS team is going to do is they're going to guide you through how this would work, given using Laser App Anywhere and then the OneSpan e-signature. And so what I'm going to do now is turn it over to Janine, and she's going to walk you through what the individual products are that are going to be included in this, and we'll also give you some heads up on actually what Equitable products will be the ones that now are available versus in the future. So Janine, are you on the call?
Yes, Russ. Thanks so much. And oh my God, Jeff, Josh, did you just hear that? Isn't that great that Equitable now has e-signature?
Oh, yes, that's just amazing news. I'm so excited that we have Laser App now featuring e-signature for the Equitable products. Hey, do we know when everything's going to be available, though, Janine?
So I hear it's available on Laser App starting tomorrow, and that includes Investment Edge, Structured Capital Strategies, Retirement Cornerstone, and the Effervesce Series 201 and 901, which is great.
Wait. So let me just get this straight. If I wanted to write, for example, structured capital strategies using e-signature, Janine, how would I even get started?
You got it. So let me show you. So it's as easy as just getting signed up with Laser App. So when new reps join PlanMember, you would have been given some credentials when you first joined, and you would have followed a link to sign up and do a username and password. And so if you're currently not signed up with Laser App, we want you to contact Naseem Ali at nali@planmember.com for the assistance. And what he's going to do is send you a registration link. Now, I want to note that that registration link does expire within 24 hours. So when you do receive it, you want to act upon it quickly, get your username and password set up, and then you want to go ahead and go to laserapp.com, log in with your credentials, and then select Anywhere. So now that we know how to access Laser App, what paperwork are you going to use to get this accomplished? So the good news is that the reps that are familiar with our account application matrix, the good news is that it's the same paperwork that you've used before. For the newer reps that really haven't used that, you want to go ahead and look at the account application matrix, which is located on PlanMemberPartners.com underneath the forms and sales materials. So right now what you see on the slide currently, I know it's a little bit small, but it is the non-qualified account application matrix for the investments and savings program, and then also for the IRA and solo 401k. You basically just follow it on the left-hand column for the product, and then follow it all the way to the right to see the indicators on what required paperwork that you need. So, Jeff, now that we know what paperwork to use, do you want to show them how we complete it?
Sure thing, Janine. So I'm going to show you here how to do the paperwork on Laser App Anywhere, the website. So first step, we're going to talk about inputting client data. And the second step, we're going to talk about creating the forms group. These are, I'm kind of dumbing it down a little bit. These are the two main steps to actually create a client in Laser App and then to create a forms packet. We'll go through each of those. So inputting the client data, this here is a screenshot of Laser App Anywhere, and on the top left, selected is dashboard. So this is kind of like the home page or landing page, if you will, that you will first see when you log in. And you're going to want to hit on the left-hand side there, client data, which is highlighted. Then this will allow you to do one of two things. You can either input each client individually, kind of one by one, or you can also pull a database from a CRM or an Excel spreadsheet, and you can essentially batch a bunch of clients and put them all into Laser App all at once. So it's pretty nifty, and once they're in there, you can then send them in a forms packet of the Equitable paperwork. So here it's important to make sure that you enter a valid email address and mobile phone number, because these will be used for the e-signature later. So really want to make sure you got that. Okay, so that's creating, that's inputting the client data, and now we're going to talk about, creating a forms group here. So back on the dashboard homepage, on the top left, there is a button that says Search for Forms. You're going to want to go ahead and click there. And what we're going to do is actually make a forms group for each product we're going to write. So again, as Russ mentioned earlier, the 3 equitable products that are available are on the individual annuity side, so Structured Capital Strategies, Investment Edge, and Retirement Cornerstone. So to do this, again, you click Search for Forms on the top left, and then it's going to pop open a page that's going to look very similar to this. You're going to first want to filter by annuities. These are on the top middle of the page. And after that, you will then select AXA Equitable for Equitable Paperwork. We realize that AXA has rebranded to Equitable this year. However, LaserApp still hasn't updated with that information quite yet, so it's located under AXA Equitable. That's just something to note. Okay, and now we're actually going to search for the form. So again, we went into annuities and then AXA Equitable, and now we're going to pull up all of our AXA forms, and then next we're going to do all the PlanMember forms, and then we'll be complete with creating a forms group. So first thing you're going to want to do is search for the form. If I want to do a Structured Capital Strategies, like it's in the screenshot here, I would just type in structured, and I would get a bunch of different applications for each state. Of course, you want to pick the right series of the application as well as the right state. That way you ensure it gets completed correctly. You can refer to the account application matrix as well to the required paperwork. One thing not mentioned on the account application matrix, which we'll go into in a sec, is the LaserApp consolidated blotter entry form. So after you add the Equitable paperwork, we're going to go back to filter by broker dealer, again on the top middle of the page there, and find the PlanMember paperwork. So select PlanMember services. So you select other business channel, broker dealer, and then PlanMember services as notated in the screenshot here. And that will allow us to add things like the client profile and other forms. Again, refer to the account application matrix, and here is a screenshot of the individual client profile is something required for 99% of cases, so make sure you want to get that in there, and any other required PlanMember paperwork. And then again, you just click on each form after searching it, and it will add it to your forms group on the right-hand side there.
Hey, Jeffrey?
Yes.
So I've got a question, and the question is, why does my dashboard look so different versus what I see here?
So your dashboard is kind of the landing page or home page, and then this is actually creating a forms group in the on the site. So it's going to look a little bit different than your dashboard, I think. Does that answer the question, Russ?
We'll find out. Thanks.
Okay. You could also be thinking of the LaserApp Enterprise dashboard, and again, there's 2 versions of LaserApp. The LaserApp Enterprise is the actual software version, and LaserApp Anywhere is the website version. So just want to make sure we're talking about LaserApp Anywhere here, so that's possibly it. Okay, so now we're still searching under the PlanMember forms, and again, I mentioned this earlier, but something to really hit home here is, because this is not mentioned on the account application matrix, is the LaserApp consolidated blotter entry form. This is required for any LaserApp submission, so it's going to kick you back at the end of this when you try to do the e-signature if you don't have this form. So really make sure that you add this to all of your forms groups, including any equitable forms groups. And then once all the forms are added, you can hit Save to Personal Forms Group, and that will actually allow you to save this. And this is really important because this makes it a repeatable process. Once you have that forms packet in there, everything will be up to date or repeatable and up to date for future use. So you want to make sure you definitely save that personal forms group, and you can call it whatever you want. In this case, I call it Structured Capital Strategies. And now you can actually open the forms, and this will allow you to complete the paperwork. So when you hit open forms, this is kind of what it looks like. Again, listed across the top with red little dots. Those are all the forms in my packet, and I can skip between them and fill them out individually, or like I talked about in the first step, if you input client data or pull client data from a CRM, you can then actually just pick a client and it will load whatever information you have on them into here. That's why I started with input client data and then making a forms group. I think that's the way most of our reps do it, but you can still manually input this data if you'd like. Like in this example, it's a blank form and I can go through and complete it. Like if I were with the client for the first time, we can do that. So again, yeah, if no client is selected, you can manually enter the data just like a fillable PDF. Now you'll see listed above where all the forms are on the top. It says submit to PlanMember, kind of top middle of the page. I know it's tiny, but that's actually the step, the last step that you would do, and that initiates the e-signature process. Again, the client would get an email and a text message, and similar to how Business Connect works, our version of Laser App, they would get an email, text, and that's their way of signing off on the paperwork. So that's basically how to complete the paperwork in a nutshell, you know, inputting client data and creating a forms group. It's much easier than it may look if you haven't done this before. I know we went through a couple of different steps here, but it's once you create that forms group, it's really easy to repeat this. And you can, again, just, it's nice, especially in these times, because it's harder to get a hold of clients, especially in person. So if you have clients that are tentative to meet, Laser App is a great workaround for equitable paperwork. So now that we've kind of gone over how to do all the paperwork, Josh, are you aware of any resources that reps have to get support on these tools?
You know, I know of a few, and literally nothing would make me happier than sharing that with all of you. So let me just pop over here and we'll get started as to what options you have. For the PlanMember paperwork or the PlanMember forms, as you're going through it, if you have any questions, you're not sure how to complete the forms, of course, you can always contact the Service Center. Option 3 is our broker-dealer line to get you through to the licensed and trained professionals that will be able to assist you. If it's more than you're just not sure about a particular question on the paperwork and you really don't know how to complete the paperwork at all, feel free to contact your BDS for the training so that we can get you up to speed on that. For the equitable forms, including Effervesce and the individual annuity products, you can contact their sales desk. We've got the Effervesce and the individual annuities sales desk phone numbers up on the screen. You can also contact your BDSs for those numbers if you need to later. Outside of the assistance and the other tools that you have, I also want to talk about a few restrictions. The first one is Effervesce. I know we just gave you the Effervesce sales desk. We're hoping to add Effervesce 201 and 901 in the very near future, but as of this moment, only the individual annuities, structured capital strategies, retirement cornerstone, and investment edge are going to be available for e-signature. Also, the transfer form, it's not so much an issue on our side as the contra firms. Contra firms will not accept our e-signature. So if you're processing an exchange or transfer or a switch replacement of any kind, you're going to need to get a wet signature on that transfer form. In that same vein, the state replacement paperwork is not yet available on Laser App. So if there's a switch replacement involved in the transaction, that form will also need to be procured from Equitable, and you'll need to get a wet signature on that. And then lastly, Effervesce, because we really just want to stress this for you. You may be able to go into Laser App and complete the Laser App process with an e-signature on the Effervesce. The process is not approved. You shouldn't be able to do that, but if there's a bug, it won't work for the time being. We'll let you know as soon as Effervesce 201 and 901 have been added to this process, but for the time being, don't try to do it just to see. And then just to review basically where we started with this is how do we get started? Well, as we've already mentioned, you can contact Naseem Ali at nali@planmember.com to get set up for Laser App if you're not currently set up, or if you haven't previously been set up for e-signature through Laser App. He's going to need your email and a cell phone number that you can use for the e-signature process. If you're not even sure where to start there, or if this is the right thing for you, contact your business development specialist, Janine or Jeff. As I made clear, I'm not part of this. I don't have any idea what's going on, ever, so don't call me. Joking aside, of course, if you're in my territory, or even if you're not and you just want to say hi, feel free to give me a call. Once you've gotten that set up, you can start writing business. As long as you're appointed with AXA and you're trained on the products, there's no additional training that you need to do. There's no additional appointment or contracting paperwork. So you can just get into Laser App and start writing business. I hope that covers most of what you guys might be interested in hearing today, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to Russ to close us out.
Thanks, Josh. So one of the questions that we have that's been asked is the time frame for when Effervesce will be available to add to the Laser App anywhere and be e-signed. And so we're probably, as of the last conversation that I had, which was earlier this week, we're looking at perhaps 2 weeks or so. I was hoping that we would actually be able to, start it, which our official date is tomorrow, the 19th. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen unless, of course, we can nudge them to hopefully get them to do it a little bit quicker. Would not count on that, but working on it very, very much on a regular and consistent basis to get this done. So I have a question, and the question is that in the state of Texas, So the question is, so in Texas we can complete the paperwork and print it out, not just do an e-signature. So absolutely, the e-signature is not the final solution. You can do it, in the old way of, kind of the quasi-check-in app capability that you can continue in the manner that you're doing it now. It just simply, I think, given that the circumstances that we're in, and kind of what I think a lot of us think that's going to happen in the fall when schools open up in whatever capacity, is that you probably will be very limited as to having access into the school districts. Therefore, there needs to be a solution, but certainly the solution that you have currently can be part of that. So the next question that we have is, so I'm trying to get the app for Effervesce and Laser App, and I can complete everything but the signature. So if Effervesce and Laser App is in there, you certainly, once it's in there, then you certainly can print it out and do it that way, without completing or utilizing the e-signature. So that certainly could happen. And then this is for the BDS team, whoever wants to answer this. And the question is, what CRMs can use Laser App anywhere online?
Hey Russ, this is Jeff.
Oh,
sure, I'll take that one. I think it is. I was on Laser App earlier, and if I pull CRMs, it's giving the options for Redtail and Salesforce as the available CRMs. So Redtail and Salesforce.
So Redtail and Salesforce. Okay, that's good. And for those of you that actually have,
I'm sorry, Russ. There may be some additional ones, but Redtail and Salesforce are the ones just listed there. And I think there's.
Jeff, there's a couple in there too. Yeah, I just wanted to add in, if everyone, they are listed in the Laser App user guide that's located under PlanMember University under Laser App. And as Jeff mentioned, Salesforce and Redtail is available, but also WealthBox and Pareto platform and a couple others, so Red Kite. So, feel free to refer to the guide there.
So, Jeff, I think this was kind of during the period of time that you were speaking, and it might be something, or if somebody else wants to answer it, certainly you can. But maybe comment on, one of the recommendations that we've gotten is that you save the work in Laser App before you send it on to PlanMember to be processed. Is that something that typically you recommend?
Yes. I would always, as most software nowadays, save your work as you go. That way it does, if you do need to come back to it, it's there, it's backed up, and you don't have to start from scratch. So absolutely.
I want to chime in on that one as well. We have had reports, and this is on Laser App's side, and I don't know if this is an ongoing issue, but it was an issue in the past where agents would save paperwork, close Laser App, come back, and the save wouldn't be there. So if, as Jeff said, always save as you go just in case something crashes and you have to come back to it. But be aware that within Laser App there may be issues that encourage you to complete this in a single sitting when possible.
Okay. So just to be clear, and it's a good point, I'm glad somebody reminded me of this, is that the aspect of e-signature, utilizing our e-signature process versus utilizing, which a lot of companies already have in place, which, typically it might be, DocuSign, or it might be a SignX or whatever that they've already approved. And so, particularly on the platform side of it, we're actually working with some other carriers to be able to actually provide a similar opportunity that we're going to be providing with Equitable, one of which is, in the case of security benefit, we're actually working with them very closely, had a conversation about that today, so I'm hoping to get some news on that this week to share with everybody. But the goal here is any carrier that's on the platform that we hopefully will have the ability to do e-signature. It really boils down to they have to accept OneSpan, and that's really the process that we've been trying to get through and get satisfied for them so that we'll be able to do this. And then one more, I think. So there's a link, and maybe maybe you guys want to make sure that you're sharing this link that LaserApp has, that with everybody as you communicate with them after the call. But I think that would be very, very good, and we can mail it out to everybody so that you have the link, once we get done with the call today. So looking like that we don't have any more questions. So let me just kind of repeat a few things because the call started out a little bit shaky. So bottom line is that you are ready to go, and we have informed all of the Equitable wholesalers and their wholesaling teams that as of tomorrow that you will be ready to go and submit business utilizing the OneSpan e-signature process on LaserApp Anywhere. So they're going to know about it. They're going to understand kind of how the process works, because I'm going to be communicating that with them today. And so if you get a call about it and they're talking to you about it, the reason they know is because we're sharing that information with them, as we will share with everybody else too, so that they have the information. And it is ready to go. I was, like I said earlier, I was hoping that Effervesce would be ready to go. Unfortunately, it's not, so it will be a few weeks before that happens for you to have the ability there. And I would anticipate security benefit, yay or nay, coming up in the course of probably the next week or week and a half. We'll have an answer for you on that one also. So thank you very much for being on the call today. The goal that we have really is not only putting out a presentation that possibly you can use in the fall when schools have to be in the virtual mode, but also give you the ability to electronically sign documents. And in the case of Effervesce, all the documents may or may not be in LaserApp Anywhere. So we're working with them to identify those particular areas where they may not have a state form that's needed, for example. So if you come across any of those, please let me know, and we'll get to work on that with Equitable so that we can get that taken care of. So thanks everybody for being on the call. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to all of you being on the call the next time we do it next month. And thanks to all the BDS team for participating and putting it together. So I'll turn it back over to Megan.
Thank you, Russ. Great job, Russ, Josh, Jeff, and Janine. Thank you all for being part of today's presentation and letting us know more about this process. Before we close, I would like to remind our advisors about a couple of things. Please bear with me. They're a little bit long reminders. The first is, I don't know if you've heard, but our 2020 Advisor Summit is going virtual. That's exciting. Here are the top reasons you should attend. Number 1, seats are unlimited. All PlanMember advisors and assistants are welcome to participate. Number 2, the agenda will be packed with a blend of short, live, and on-demand courses, including PlanMember department updates, keynote speakers, and business development strategies from PlanMember's sales team and strategic partners. The on-demand session will allow you to attend on your own time at your own pace. And number 3, during the event, you will have the opportunities to connect and collaborate with PlanMember staff, strategic partners, and your peers. That's right, by attending the live, smaller group sessions, you can connect and discuss the topics presented. More information and the agenda will be announced this summer. If you have any questions, feel free to contact Jennifer Owens or Kendra Silverman. I would also like to remind you guys about our next training opportunity. That is Tuesday, June 23rd at 11 a.m. PlanMember is pleased to announce that we are continuing our partnership with Pareto Systems to continue to offer you a turnkey curriculum to enhance and develop your skills to implement an effective and repeatable process to create a unique, positive experience with all clients. That was a mouthful. In this introductory webinar on Tuesday, June 23rd, again at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Duncan McPherson, CEO of Pareto Systems, will walk you through a practice management process that will be available to PlanMember advisors in late 2020 or 2021. This bundled solution is called Total Client Engagement and will address the primary issue facing the industry, or issues facing the industry today, or commoditization. Think about it for a moment. Aside from a prospectus, product brochure, or statement, the business has become extremely virtual and complex. As a result, the commoditization of the advisor's role has been amplified to the point that clients can trivialize their value and leadership and focus solely on ROI. This can undermine loyalty, expectation management, ongoing empowerment, and endorsements from the clients. As a result, advisors need to shift from a salesmanship to a stewardship model, as there are 2 types of advisors: salespeople who focus on products, pricing, and performance, and consultants who focus on philosophy, planning, strategy, and process. The Total and Client Engagement will walk you through a step-by-step process that will ensure you identify the gaps in your current approach to get clarity, articulate your value in a compelling way, position and the concept of introductions with stewardship, not salesmanship, demonstrate your value through a congruent and consistent onboarding process, execute the onboarding process so that new clients buy into it, reframe your relationship with existing clients, organize and structure your business, create a framework to segment your clients, create an impeccable client experience, and uncover new assets and establish a steady stream of qualified referrals. We hope you guys will join us for this, what is bound to be a very valuable training opportunity from Pareto Systems. Lastly, as always, your feedback on these calls is very important to us, and we will be sending you a short survey and ask that you please take the time to let us know what you liked about the call and let us know how we can make them even better. Before we close, Russ, did you have any closing thoughts, or are we good?
I think we're good. I think you already did 2 webinars for one.
Yes. 2 for the price of 1.